because I had to wait for Dylan. And then we have to, from the information, do the notes. Now, the first note is the note for inventories. Die eerste nota is die nota vir voorrade. In the note for inventories, you remember inventories is all our normal trading stock, ons gewone handelsvoorraad, and whatever else we bought this year and we're only going to use it next year. That would be our consumable stores on hand. En wat is verbruiksgoedere voorhande? It can be stationery, skryfbehoeftes, verpakkingsmateriaal, packing material, and fuel or cleaning material. In hierdie oefening, your inventories consist out of trading inventory. O, ek wil nie so skryf, dit is nie mooi nie. Ek 'n bietjie beter skryf hier sou kry. Let's just do Arial. Trading inventory, handelsvoorraad. And consumable stores on hand. Verbruiksgoedere voorhande. En dit is al wat ooit onder voorrade kan wees. There's nothing else that can be under inventories. Trading inventory and consumable stores on hand. Now let's go to the information and see. Remember I told you I gave you the information. So kom ons kyk gou wat staan hierso. Daar was handelsvoorraad, trading inventory is 85,000, consumable stores on hand is 1,500. Is julle by daarmee? So all I had to do is I had to write in those amounts 85,000 and 1,500 and 1,500. There's nothing else. I need to know what my total for inventories are. Ek moet weet wat is my totaal van voorrade. So ek gaan nou optel. I need to total this. Dit is JD hoekom daar meer as een extra blokkie is wat jy moet kan optel. Is julle alright daarmee? Are we fine? So when we add this 86,500. Are you okay with this? Is there anyone who has a problem with that? Enige iemand? Is julle okay? Right. Then before we carry on, let's just read here. This and this and this is all additional information. Dis alles addisionele inligting. Half of the fixed deposit that matures on 30 September, die helfte van die vaste deposito wat verval. Remember I told you yesterday that fixed deposit is money that you invested somewhere for a long time. That is why it falls under non-current assets. Kan jy onthou ek het vir jou gister gesê, 'n vaste deposito is geld wat jy vir 'n lang tyd belê. Dis hoekom dit onder nie bedryfsbates val nie, want jy gaan nie die geld kan kry nie. That part of your fixed deposit that matures next year is not unavailable forever and a day. Dit gaan mos volgende jaar in jou bank inbetaal word. Mr. Most Wonder, Takeoff. Is jy by? So daardie gedeelte wat volgende jaar gaan verval, that's going to mature next year, will turn into cash next year. Dan daai gedeelte gaan deel wees van kontant en kontant ekwivalente. So in this one, half of the fixed deposit matures 30 September 2022. That is next year. Remember our year ended, ons jaar het mos geëindig op 28 Februarie. 30 September is in the next 12 months. It's in around the corner. Dit beteken dat de helfte van daai, that's 75,000, is going to change into cash. Verander in kontant. You're not going to have the cash now, immediately, but you will have it within the next year. Is jy by daarmee? Jy het nie die geld nou in jou bankie, maar jy gaan die geld in die volgende jaar in jou bank kry. So the same applies to a loan. That part of the loan you're paying within the next year is no longer a non-current liability. It changes into a current liability because you are paying it within the next 12 months. Is jy by daarmee? Okay. So then the next one, die volgende inligting. According to the loan agreement, 50,000 rand per year are paid on the capital amount. 50,000 rand per jaar word op die kapitale bedrag betaal in common Afrikaans. elke jaar betaal ons op die lening, not the interest, the loan itself, 50,000. And that 50,000 we are paying per year is no longer for that year a non-current liability. Non-current is what's going to take you longer than a year to pay. Current is what you will have to pay within the next year. Do you understand the difference between the two concepts? So nou is jy by, verskil tussen die twee konsepte, verstaan julle dit? So here where my loan is, just find, I can't see without my glasses. This loan, 50,000 will be paid next year. 50,000 is going to change into a current liability. Dit is gaan verander in 'n bedryfslas. Bedryfslas is laste wat jy binne die volgende 12 maande gaan betaal. Current liability is a liability, it's a debt you will pay within the next 12 months. Current assets is something either cash already or something you can change into cash within the next year. Remember, if you have, remember inventory is a current asset. Inventory is not money, but you hope that you will change that inventory into money. You will sell your inventory. Because if you don't sell your inventory in this next year, your business is going down the drain. Onthou, want as jy nie voorraad verkoop nie, maak jy nie geld nie. Is julle by daarmee? Are you fine with that? Okay. So kom ons gaan na die volgende nota. The next note is the one for trade and other receivables. So this is now everybody that owes us money. It's almal wat vir ons geld skuld. The debtors. If we're supposed to receive an income, accrued income, a prepaid expense, anyone that owes us money for whatever reason will fall under trade and other receivables. Enig iemand wat vir ons geld skuld. So the easiest one to start with is your trade. Ek gaan gou die skrif weer regmaak. The easiest one to start with is your trade debtors. Dis die maklikste. And trade debtors is a fancy word for debtors control. Handelsdebiteure is net doodeenvoudig 'n fancy woord vir debiteure kontrole. But we need to talk about trade debtors. Dis nie my woorde hierin. Remember, this is international stuff, this. Not my rules. Ek moes dit ook maar geleer het toe ek met hierdie goed begin het jare terug. So trade debtors are the people that owe you money because they bought from you. Handelsdebiteure is die mense wat vir jou geld skuld omdat hulle by jou gekoop het. I am one of Fushini's trade debtors because I buy from them. Is julle by daarmee? So, ek gaan dan hakies hier byskryf, dis jou debiteure kontrole. Just for to remind you, dis jou debiteure, this is debtors control. Are you fine with that? Is julle okay daarmee? Are you sure? Okay. Then, what happened? What was the new adjustment you learned this year? Let's say our business trade debtors is R1 million. What did you learn this year? Will you definitely get that full R1 million in? Nee, daar gaan mos mense wees wat nie vir jou kan betaal nie. For that we have to make a provision for bad debts. Remember that. So we're going to minus provision provision for bad debts from this. Ons gaan voorsiening van inbare skulde moet aftrek, want ons wil nie hê dat whoever reads our statements are under a misconception of how much money we think we're going to receive from our debtors. Is julle by daarmee? So, ek gaan nou hierdie een keer sê les, minus, maar jy mag dit, ek gaan net die een keer hier skryf, as jy kan onthou. You're not allowed to write that there, but I want you to remember provision for bad debts will decrease your trade debtors amount. So ek gaan net die een keer die minus daar skryf. Provision for bad debts, adjust provision for bad debts. Voorsiening van inbare skulde. Ons gaan soek nou eers hierdie twee bedrae. We look for those amounts. For trade debtors, ek het vir my op bladsy hier iewers gehad, dat ek dit net weer kry. Ek het vroeër vanoggend die bladsy gesien. Did you also see that debtors control, debiteure controle is 36,500, 36,500, is that right? You just heard that you must minus debt provision for bad debts. Ons mag mos nie 'n minus in 'n staatskryf nie. 'n minus amount is indicated by brackets. So die voorsiening vir inbare skulde was gewees, hoeveel was dit? 1,500, 1,500, okay? Remember, we're not allowed to write, never in a statement are you allowed to write a plus or a minus. A normal amount is a plus, brackets amount is a minus. It's international way to write this. Is regtig my reels hierdie nie. Right, because remember in the project I asked you why must statements be in a certain way. Did you dit gevra vir julle nie? Oh, dit was for the grade 12s. Why must it be in a certain way? Because these are international formats. That means if you in South Africa are thinking of investing money in an American company, and then you must be able to read the statements, same format than what we have in South Africa. So jy kan want as almal hulle eie metode kan volg, then you will never be able to invest your money somewhere else because there's no international method of doing this. Is jy by is regtig nie my metode hierdie nie. This is international. It's in the IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards. That is what we are doing. We are reporting in an international accepted way. Ons het nie 'n keuse hier nie. You can never change this format. Jy kan nie besluit jou nie hiervan nie, kom ons maak iets anders te hier nie. Right. Now can you see that you said trade debtors less provision for bad debts? Nou moet jy jou sommetjie gaan doen. Now you have to do your calculation. Daar's my sommetjie. 36,500 minus 1,500 gives me 45,000. En dit staan bekend as my net trade debtors. That is how much I am more or less 100% sure that this is what I will really get in the next year from my debtors. Netto handelsdebiteure. Dis nie hoeveel hulle jou regtig skuld nie, dis hoeveel jy dink jy gaan inkry. Is julle by? Remember, accountants are conservative. You will see next year when you do analysis of statements that in a businesses these days have a much higher provision for bad debts because of COVID. Want soveel mense het hulle werke verloor dat 'n besigheid moet weet. Foschini, for example, their trade debtors is, let's make it 5 billion rand. They realize that previously 1% of our debtors won't pay. Nou gaan omtrent 20% nie betaal nie want hulle het hulle werk verloor. Do you understand that? So all of you understand what provision for bad debts does? It just adjusts your trade debtors to a more realistic amount. Yes. Sorry? It depends on the economic situation in our country. In our country at the moment, 46.2% of the people that can work is unemployed. So there my sister was unemployed for 2 years. That didn't even help to ask, can you pay your Foschini account? No income, nothing you can do. There's really, so do you understand that at the moment in our economy, if you are now auditor of a company, then you will have to check this adjustment, was this provision for bad debts, is that actually a realistic value? 2%. 2% is no longer realistic in our country. 10% is realistic. Is julle by daarmee? En as dit so aangaan, gaan dit binnekort 20% wees. Are we fine with that, people? Is julle by? Okay. So what else do we add here? Now we have to think on who else owes us money. Wie anders skuld nou nog vir ons geld? Accrued income. Opgelope inkomste. What is accrued income? Accrued income is, for example, the tenant that didn't pay his rent on time. Dis byvoorbeeld die huurder wat nie sy huur betaal het nie. Hy skuld mos vir ons daai huurgeld. So anybody that owes us money will fall under trade and other receivables. Die huurder wat nie sy geld betaal het nie, die opgelope inkomste word mos vir ons geskuld, gaan onder handels en ander ontvangbares. Prepaid expenses. Ek gaan nou kyk of haar bedrag is. Ek skryf dit nou eers neer. Prepaid expense. What is normally a prepaid expense in any business? Wat is normaalweg die vooruitbetaalde uitgawe? What must you pay in advance? Wat moet jy vooruitbetaal? Not electricity, you pay it as you use it. There's one specific rent must be paid in advance, and what else? Insurance. Jy moet mos jou versekering vooruitbetaal. If you were the insurance company and you had to wait until the end of the month for the insurance for your client to pay you, that month if nothing went wrong with that person, do you think is going to pay you? No. What else must be paid in advance? Advertising. You know that when somebody passes away and you have to put that death notice in a paper, they do not publish that death notice until you have paid for it. Because after it has been published and I haven't paid, what can the Burger or the Cape Times now do to me? It's already been in the paper. Do you understand this? So any prepaid expense must also go in here, because whatever you paid in advance, in my case now insurance, the insurance company owes me cover for the next month. Is julle by daarmee? Are we fine with this? And then the last one is any deposit that we paid. Enige deposit, oops, net paid rest. We being the business now, deposit to deur besigheid betaal. Remember, if you pay a deposit, then that money still belongs to you. So as jy 'n deposit betaal, as behoort daai geld mos eintlik aan jou. It's still your money. You just have to pay the deposit. A nice example is if you are renting from someone, you need to pay a deposit. Why? So that the landlord knows that when the day you move and there are damages, then they can use your deposit money to fix the building. Julle by daarmee. So any deposit we paid, any deposit wat ons betaal, the only ones that we will pay will be for telephone and for water and electricity. Dis wat ons moet betaal. So I'm going to write here deposit telephone or deposit water. Telephone hierdie oefening. Okay. Die water, né? As jy as jy 'n nuwe gebou intrek, 'n new building, or you buy a new house, or then you will have to go to the municipality and you will have to ask them that you are now renting, or you bought this building, you are now responsible for the water account. Then they're going to ask you to put a deposit down. Why? So that if you do not pay, they can take your money. If you do pay, they will give you back your money. And the bad thing about this is, if you pay, let's make a 10,000 rand deposit, but 10 years later, when you move out of that building, you're only getting back your 10,000. You're not getting the interest on the 10,000. The interest on that 10,000 belongs to the municipality, because they have been looking after your money. It's their interest. Dis eintlik wat sleg is van 'n deposito wat ons moet betaal. Is julle by daarmee? So can we find the amounts? Was there an accrued income? Was daar 'n opgelope inkomste? Ek is seker van ek het een gehad. Was daar eene? Okay, I'm just looking for mine. 8,500, is dit reg? Daar's daar 'n vooruitbetaalde uitgawe, 12,000. And there was a deposit paid for the telephone, 2,200. En dis die lot. Now we need to total this again. Ons moet nou weer optel. And now where do I start my calculation? From the 35,000. Want ons het mos klaar daai boonste sommetjie gedoen, hè? Are we okay with this? Is julle alright? Kom ons tel gou op. Can you now see that the adjustments that we've done will have an effect on this? Can you now see hierso? That is why adjustments are so important. Want as jou aansouers verkeerd is, gaan jy mos nou hier ook verkeerd wees. So kom ons tel op 35,000. Ek mag optel, dan voel ek of ek gewerk het vandag. 57,700, is that right? Is julle alright hiermee? Did you get 57,700? Is julle alright? Are we okay? Right? Is there anyone who has a problem? Next one is cash and cash equivalents. Nou kontant en kontant ekwivalente is geld wat in ons bankrekening is alreeds, né? Of geld wat binnekort in ons bankrekening gaan wees. It's either money that's in our account or in the, remember cash float is also cash. The money in the petty cash is also cash. It's either money in our bank account or the business's money somewhere. Or something that will soon be money. So watter een gaan heel eerste hier wees? Kom ons dink nou eerste. The fixed deposit that's going to mature. That part of the fixed deposit that will mature this year will soon be in our account. So I'm going to start with that. Fixed deposit. Ek wil ander skrif, ek kan nie van die skrif hê. Dis nie 'n mooi skrif nie. Weet jy waar kan hy skrif gekom het nie? Fixed deposit. Deposit, you always need to write the name of the bank. Jy moet sê wat 'n bank dit is, want jy kan mos meer as een vaste deposito hê. This fixed deposit was where? FNB. Now remember, it's only that part of the deposit that will mature, and they said half of the fixed deposit, so is daai 75,000. Is julle okay met die? Is this difficult, people? Is dit regtig moeilik nie, né? No. But for this test, I will give you most of the things like that. Because we're taking this baby steps. Next year, you will have to do the adjustment. Are we okay, people? I will put the link of this class on the group. Have a nice weekend.